man, right here we got serial killer realized police found his body collection. Crazy, man. You getting good at
Not
that
doing
shit?
anything without talking to him. Sir, I will be very cooperative. Let's try that, please.
That's not you on the 27th? Food Line parking lot, Traveler's Rest?
I don't think so.
Look, man.
Wrap this
Where's
on my lighter. I like
I
this.
don't know where that is. Yes, you do.
I like
It's
how
not
that-
making sense. So you're the last person to be in a vehicle you wiped out of a lady that's missing.
That sounds really up.
28 years ago, this man kidnapped a woman and was sentenced to 30 years in prison for it. 3 decades later, 80-year-old Edna Suttles is spotted picking him up in a parking lot. This would be the last time Edna was ever seen alive. Days later, detectives traced Edna's movement and discovered CCTV footage of the same man driving her car.
She's missing right now.
Yes, Dan, where is Edna?
I don't have a clue.
But that's when police found out Edna wasn't
Stoned,
the
nigga that
only
don't be
victim.
beat, he's stoned. You rap bitch on the run.
If you tell him to turn that off, I'll talk to you a little more freely.
You're not cutting it off, boy.
Sometime around 9 a.m. on August 27th, 80-year-old Edna leaves her home in Traveler's Rest to look after a friend. Hours later, 911 dispatchers receive a concerning call.
Greenville County 911, what's your emergency? A fitter was supposed to show up to be with my mom today. Her name is Edna Suttle,
Name of Ed.
and she didn't show up. This is not like her. She shows up like clockwork.
That's how I be when I call my job, when I call off. Hello? Yeah, this is Aaron. I'm calling because I don't have childcare today. Yeah, my babysitter supposed to watch the kids, but she didn't come. She didn't pick them up today. It's not like her. Yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, right? Bye. Like, nigga coming up with some crazy shit.
So something's wrong.
But this call was
Ain't no
only the
goddamn
beginning
babysitter,
of a
nigga.
long chain of mysteries. As officers arrived at Edna Suttle's home for a welfare check based on these reports, they received no response. There were no signs of a break-in, and Edna was nowhere to be seen. However, when police asked Edna's son, he pointed out that $50,000 worth of jewelry was missing from the home. More importantly, though, her car was missing too. If the cops could find that, they might be able
Hey,
to
look.
figure out where she had gone.
tied
This
it around
meant
my
that
lighter.
finding Edna's vehicle would be the most instrumental step
seen
in this
dude do that shit on
investigation,
YouTube.
as it would give a
Look,
clue
that
about
dude
her
back in the
last known
clip.
whereabouts.
Look.
Immediately, a hunt for Edna's car
Yeah.
began, and 6 days later, it
was
was
on his
found
card at
abandoned in the parking lot of a hotel in Traveler's Rest. This was odd, as Edna lived close by and didn't need to stay at a hotel. A check with the staff also revealed that no one under the name of Edna was staying there. So to get to the bottom of this mystery, the cops decided to try and trace back Edna's movement using CCTV cameras starting from her home. At 9:30 a.m., a camera at a nearby pawn shop captures Edna leaving her home and driving towards a local Food Lion grocery store. 9 minutes later, Edna arrives at the store to pick something up. A man approaches the vehicle with 2 bags in his hand and sits alongside Edna, who then drives off back to her home. 4 hours later at 1:43 p.m., Edna's car leaves her home again and arrives at the same Food Lion once more. But this time, the person exiting the driver's seat isn't Edna at all. It's the same old white man she picked up earlier, who immediately moves to his car and parks it next to Edna's. He then drags something out of her car, placing it into his. Initially, it was difficult to identify what the man moved from the Jeep to the Chevrolet, but after a frame-by-frame analysis, it wasn't a question of what was moved, but who. Because in a chilling discovery, officers would realize the footage showed the unmistakable golden hair of Edna Suttles. 4 minutes later, at 1:47 p.m., the man drives Edna's car into the hotel's parking lot and parks it in the same spot that the detectives found the vehicle in. He exits and begins wiping down the door and seats, trying to get rid of any evidence of his presence. By 2:14 p.m., the man returns to his vehicle at Food Lion and drives off, marking the last that was seen of Edna and the man. The most crucial part of this investigation is to now figure out who exactly the man in the video is.
The only
But
thing
due to the
bad
grainy
about-
footage and his distance from most cameras, this proved to be difficult, and the investigation seemed like it would come to a standstill. But detectives had an idea. Since the man exited the store with bags in his hand, a purchase was made, and this realization would be the most crucial breakthrough in the case. Immediately, officers began retrieving footage from inside the store, and when they reviewed it, they came to a harrowing realization. This was Daniel Prince, a man who only 24 years prior to this got put in a federal prison for kidnapping. 24 years prior to this incident, in 1997, Daniel was responsible for the kidnapping of a woman in Michigan. He had her tied up, shackled her hands. It was by sheer luck that she managed to free herself before escaping. Even though he was sentenced to a maximum of 30 years for this crime, he was released by 2009 on parole. But the worst was yet to come. Daniel began working as a handyman for predominantly elderly single ladies, a demographic that not only matched his previous victim, but also that of Edna's. For officers, the realization now begins to settle in. They have a kidnapper on the run, and there might be a chance that he has kept Edna alive. Not knowing where she is, they had to act fast before this glimmer of hope dimmed. Even with this disturbing past, detectives didn't have enough evidence to press strong charges for kidnapping or murder. However, they had established probable cause for grand larceny involving Edna's Jeep. A warrant to arrest Prince and search his property was granted, and officers were quickly dispatched to Prince's residence to take him into custody.
Totally cooperating. Not doing anything? Not cooperating. All right, let's go. Stand up on your feet. Right there. Yeah. Sir, I will be very cooperative.
Despite the number of heavily armed officers that just descended on Prince's property, he remained noticeably calm and composed, as if he had a plan to escape this predicament. The following footage was analyzed by our in-house criminal research specialist and retired detective to shed some light on key techniques and strategies used during the questioning. When he is brought into the interrogation room, the detectives start with a relaxed, friendly conversation, a tactic used to put suspects at ease. They don't want him to know they've caught him on camera just yet.
What do you do now?
I do a lot of home remodeling,
Okay.
home repairs. I lay a
stuff.
lot of tile, and I got a customer base that has me doing stuff.
Okay, so why Bostic, North Carolina, come all the way down from, say, Michigan or Wisconsin?
Okay, here, this is real easy. I'm originally from the east side of the state of Michigan,
Okay.
but I was in prison in Michigan for a while, and when I paroled to the west side of the state.
Okay. What'd you get locked up for? Because you said you got paroled.
I was locked up for a kidnapping charge.
Okay.
And I did 13 and a half years for that.
Oh, wow.
I did 1.5 years for a false statement on a vehicle title. You know, when they're not sure if they're going to make something, they want something to hold you with. So the false statement, that's all that was. The kidnapping, I was doing some bad shit that I shouldn't have been doing,
Fair enough.
but I shouldn't have gotten kidnapping, but I was doing some bad shit.
What kind of shit? What shit have you gotten?
I really don't want to say.
We're just bullshitting.
Huh?
We're just bullshitting.
The audio gonna kind of overtake the fan, but when I mute it, you gonna hear that motherfucker though.
Nothing when you're talking to two police detectives in a room. It's just bullshit. Okay, I've been through the system enough to know that. Yeah. All I'm going to say about that is I did my time. I made my first
Fair
parole,
enough.
and I haven't been in trouble since.
Hey, and that's great to know. You know, a lot of people, especially being what you've been through, they come out and they go right back to it.
Just because he's a convicted criminal doesn't mean he's involved in Edna's disappearance, but the evidence the detectives have paints a different picture altogether from the hard-working, reformed criminal he claimed to be.
I'll talk to you about August 27th, 2021 of this year.
What day of the week was that?
Oh, it was a Friday.
Okay.
Okay, so specifically the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
What, 2 weeks ago? Do you remember where you were at?
Not specifically.
Where do you think you were at?
I've been going all over the place. I've been back and forth to Charlotte. I've been down to South Carolina.
Like, where's your jobs in South Carolina taking you?
Actually, I was down to Traveler's Rest, but I don't know if it was Friday or Thursday. I know I'd been there earlier that week.
But you don't remember which day specifically?
No, it was either Thursday or Friday.
What kind of job were you working on?
I wasn't.
You wasn't?
I wasn't. This lady had talked to me several times. I'd been down to her house 2 or 3 times. We kind of got to be friends. This woman has so many damn problems, mostly her daughter. She would call me and have me come down there.
Just to accommodate
She
that.
said she needed to have money at one point in time to help her daughter because her daughter was in jail.
That motherfucker,
Then
a
she
whole
needed
can of
money another
Sprite to
time
take you off in the
because
morning.
she was hired a private investigator.
I don't know what that motherfucker
Because her son-in-law was,
That
she
joint
taught
make
me
you
all
so
kinds
full,
of
you
stuff about
gonna
it.
want
We got to be
that.
pretty good friends about stuff like
Okay.
that.
How'd you meet her initially?
Years ago,
Okay.
it was somebody giving me her name or number, or her my name and number.
Here, the detectives are analyzing his behavior and allowing Prince to dig a hole for himself that he's going to struggle to escape from. When they reveal they know the truth, he's going to try and deny his guilt, even when the evidence speaks for itself.
What you're telling us is that's not you on the 27th? Food Line parking lot, Traveler's Rest?
I don't think so.
I'm not gonna try and do that for so long. It's just some dumb shit. The nigga got the shoes and the socks on.
That's not you.
That's me. Where's that?
Food Line, August 27th, 2021, 9:23,
Okay.
32 seconds. Ringing a bell?
Yep. Yeah, I went down to Food Alliance. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were you doing down there that day?
She wanted me to look at some stuff at her house,
Okay.
and she picked me up at Food Line
You
because
gotta
she
wear a
wanted
size
me with
10,
her.
motherfucker. All my
when
shoes are size
she
10.
was,
They talking about.
Gonna go meet some guy for
I got a big ass
for,
feet, nigga. That's one
private
thing. My
investigator.
feet huge.
Okay.
I'm like
Yeah,
a 10, 10 and a half. That's one thing I
She
wish
wanted
I
me to
didn't
meet
have.
her
Huge ass
down
feet.
there.
Okay.
She was nervous because she says, I'm not sure I trust this guy. And she knows I've been in the military. And she says, will you meet?
I'm little as hell with a big ass feet.
She wanted me to see if this guy was going to meet her where he was supposed to meet her.
Do you know where?
There was a hotel lobby that he had. She says, drive up there and see if he's there. And I drove up there, and things are starting to sound really squirrely to me.
This is a
Hey, I
common
love to hear
deflective
that.
behavior. Prince is not only trying to deflect suspicion away from himself, he's trying to point suspicion directly at the private investigator. According to Prince, Edna wanted to meet the private investigator the day before she was reported missing, even though she didn't feel safe meeting him alone. Luckily, detectives have seen the whole thing on camera, and it completely contradicts everything Prince is saying.
What were you driving? I was driving a blue car.
Your wife's car or your car?
My wife's car.
So that's y'all coming down 25, you and her together?
It could be.
Because that's her car. That's about 13:45 on the 27th.
Okay.
So
I'm not
that's so
gonna
you're
take
with
all
her there.
that
Yeah.
bullshit out.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying yeah. I'm just saying
Like, that was a-
could be
Yeah,
right.
it's a different angle. I mean, you know, we've watched this
All
car,
that gotta come out.
right?
Okay.
Here's y'all in the hotel parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh look, there's y'all.
This nigga looking at the pictures of him kidnapping that old lady, and he's still sitting right there. He got the same socks, the same shorts, the same shoes, different shirt, and he's still talking about some don't look like me. Yeah, like what?
Y'all backing in.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of different copies of it. Backing in, backing in.
Yeah.
Oh look.
He doing the jump like I don't know how. He doing that jump like that can't be me.
You get out. Nobody else gets out.
I told you that.
You're walking around the car.
Yeah.
You wipe the entire car down.
Because I was worried.
You were worried. There's you walking across the parking lot in front of Little Caesars.
Mm-hmm.
And there's you getting back in.
Want me screenshot my motherfucking want me screenshot my motherfucking Want me screenshot you my motherfucking jump? Nigga, I just ate yesterday. Nigga, I ain't get that nigga shit, nigga.
To your car and driving away.
Oh, she's with me.
Oh, look, man.
Don't let me don't let me equip a coupon and make a $27 order $6. Nigga, they ain't getting nothing.
You are a good dude. I honestly do believe that you.
Like I send you my shit right now. I ain't even playing. I'm dead ass, nigga. I be thinking they gonna do some wild shit, but you know my thing. What I do if they be like, if they come to my house tripping about the tip, I'd be like, oh no, don't trip, buddy. I like to give my tips after they bring it. Don't trip. You'll see it. Nigga ain't getting shit. You still ain't getting shit.
Of years and years ago.
Prince seems visibly stunned by the amount of photographic evidence the detective is showing him, and even though it can't be refuted, Prince is going to try and lie his way out of it. But that's not the only evidence detectives manage to find along the way, as there's mud on the wheels of Prince's car, leading detectives to believe he drove off-road to either kill Edna or to dump her body. And this is when we arrive at the pivotal moment where Prince's story starts to fall apart.
You're not a bad guy, right? Nobody is saying that you're some evil, twisted dude.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe restaurant. I'm talking about we could be eating at a restaurant, straight table, nigga. We up out of there.
No, where it is. We've processed the car. We found the dirt. Where did you go off road?
I never. Where did you leave? Oh, I can tell you exactly where she and I had gone off road. Please. When we were going from 25 south, there was off to the right. There was a truck with a trailer and another vehicle there that had a for sale sign on it. And it looked like an older truck, and I needed a work truck. And I went ahead and I pulled in, and with her, and then we pulled out. And it was right there on 25.
This nigga said she had a for sale sign. This nigga said the old lady had a for sale sign on her car, so he got in her car, and she like, nigga, what?
Even in the face of such overwhelming evidence, Prince still denies any wrongdoing and even tries to take control of the situation. But detectives have him cornered, quickly starting to
something gonna get left in this shit. I paused this shit too much.
Struggle to maintain his composure.
Where's right now? Her family is desperately looking for her. She's missing right now. Yes, Dan. Where is Edna? I don't have a clue. I dropped her off at her house. Dan, please listen. You did not drop her off at her house. We have followed that car the entire day, up and down 25. Mm-hmm. There's a number of minutes that are unaccounted for that are not by her house. Which car? Mine or hers? Dan, stop playing games. You know what we're talking about. Okay, I can help you here. Okay.
Asshole.
You gotta give me a second. You gotta let me answer the questions when they're asked. When I dropped her vehicle off looking for the guy, she said she wanted me to take her and drive around in my vehicle. So I left her vehicle. I went down to Food Lion, and she was in my vehicle with me. And
huh? What the fuck you just say?
I dropped her off at home. Dan, we watched the video. She is not.
The car sits there.
It sits there, man.
No, not in her car.
Never.
My car.
We watched you go
off in my car.
You did not drop anyone off, man.
I picked her back up. She sat in my car at Food Lion, and I went back and got her.
You did not.
The detectives are beginning to apply more pressure on Prince, knowing everything he's telling them is a lie. But he continues to stay on the defense, even trying to brush off the facts that he might have destroyed potential evidence.
I don't know where Edna is.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Damn.
Let's go back to why you wiped the car down. What you said you were worried about what?
The only thing I did was because I knew I'd been in and out of her car all the time with her. I'm like, there is no way in hell I'm going to just leave this thing here because she's got somebody that's after her.
Prince tries to deflect suspicion again by suggesting Edna may have been in some kind of danger, but he doesn't realize just how prepared these detectives are.
Who would be after her?
After.
That guy with the truck, she said she didn't trust him.
You gotta
Yeah.
treat yourself.
Yeah, so it's only she hired
It's
a
only
guy.
right you treat
His story's
yourself to
totally
somebody's
different.
clothes and
He's
shoes
been
and
doing
shit,
work
bro.
for
It's
her.
time, bro.
I mean,
It's time,
I
bro.
don't-
Take a step back and think about what the hell you've been spending your money on.
So it's
Right, that's why I said she hired another PI. I'm sure you're recording this.
It's not making sense of it. I mean, you're the last person to be in a vehicle you wiped out of a lady that's missing.
That sounds really fun.
It does. It does. That's why we're here.
I've been real honest with you guys. I told you what was going on.
The detectives managed to get Prince to admit he was with Edna on the day she disappeared, while Prince tried to convince them
You know, it's my 22nd birthday, bro. You know where I was at, bro?
he was helping her meet a suspicious private investigator. They know it's a desperate
was
attempt
in
to deflect
fucking
suspicion
jail.
and distance himself from the
I was
crime.
locked up on my 22nd birthday, bro. I never forget my first time spending a day in jail on my birthday, nigga.
Prince insisted he
You
dropped
thought I was
any
gonna say some flashy, what? I was in California. Nah, nigga, I was in the jail cell looking stupid.
off at her home, safe and well. But the detectives established that he was the last person to see her alive, and because of this interrogation, they locked him into a lie that would eventually lead to a chilling confession. When detectives search Prince's property, they find several automatic weapons.
Let me call this restaurant. Let me call this restaurant. Nigga, ain't no way you just order from them, you about to call and complain. And you better take that shit like it is and drink that shit.
Because of his previous convictions, he's forbidden from owning any firearms. That means he could be facing a federal charge and be detained for even longer. While he's detained, they continue to search his land and find one of the most crucial pieces of evidence yet, a yogurt cup. This is the yogurt he bought shortly before Edna disappeared, and it's laced with a cocktail of drugs. Lorazepam, tramadol, and cyclobenzaprine can cause central system depression when they're combined. When this happens, the body's neurological functions slow down. In other words, you're under sedation, exactly as Edna was in the parking lot when she was seen
Nah, the dogs
in
and cats
Prince's
cool. I'm talking
car.
about
After
what you
feeding
gotta
her the
add the
laced
kids
yogurt,
on that
there's
motherfucker.
nothing Edna can do to stop him, and she's led away to her death at the hands of this sadistic killer. Prince begins to realize he's cornered and has nowhere to run, so they bring him back in for more
shit.
questioning, where he makes a full
You take 5 of them, bitch, you down, you hydrocodone type nigga. You take 10, you Percocet.
confession as he admits to 3 more murders, including those of Lee Goodman, Dolores Sellers, and her daughter, Nancy Rigo. The first victim was Dolores. Daniel had euthanized Dolores Sellers at the request of her daughter, Nancy Rigo. However, Nancy began to have second thoughts and wanted to contact the police, putting her directly in the crosshairs of Daniel Prince, a mentally disturbed serial killer. Nancy Rigo was now his second victim. Even worse is the fact that for several years, Daniel began receiving Nancy's social security checks because she had given him her power of attorney. Moreover, the search of Daniel's property would also reveal several of Nancy's documents. Since 2017, after her murder, Daniel pretended to be Nancy by sending her family emails and
when it first
messages
came
in
out,
an
though.
attempt to prevent them from
I was a
thinking that she
teenager
was
at that
dead.
time, dude.
Daniel's
I had
third
one trip
victim
off
was
on
Lee
K2, nigga. I
Goodman,
never
who
smoked it
allegedly
again.
attempted to rob him, according to Daniel. Much like Nancy and Edna, her body was disposed of in some desolate area. And finally, Daniel's fourth and final victim was Edna Suttles, whose body would be found 1 year later on May 16, 2022, in a grave close to Daniel's home in Rutherford County. Although
Oh,
decomposed,
shit, they shouldn't have me doing that.
to positively identify it as Edna and return the body to her loved ones. But even in the face of his crimes, he would never let go of his chance to leverage as much information as he could.
There was quite a lot of stuff found in your B house. There could be a million explanations for some of that stuff, and I don't want to jump to conclusions. And if there's something that happened that you didn't intend to happen, let's talk about it.
There are things that have to happen, and there are things that are going to happen. And I'm a realist, and I have acceptance with this.
Say he was the realest.
I would like a little bit of control in how they happen. If you tell him to turn that off, I will talk to you a little more freely.
When they turn the cameras off, Prince makes a final attempt to take control and influence the outcome in his favor. Daniel Prince avoided a trial by making a deal with authorities. He would tell them about the location of Edna's body, and in turn, his case would go federal because of the better living conditions in federal prisons. Not only that, but he would also avoid the death penalty and instead receive a life sentence. One would think that the detectives were naive to turn off their cameras and not record Daniel's
You tell him to turn that off, I will talk to you a little more freely.
When they turn the cameras off, Prince makes a final attempt to take control and influence the outcome in his favor. Daniel avoided a trial by making a deal with authorities. He would tell them about the location of Edna's body, and in turn, his case would go federal because of the better living conditions, but he would also avoid the death penalty and instead receive a life sentence. One would think that the detectives were naive to turn off their cameras and not record Daniel's confession, but unbeknownst to Prince, the investigators keep the backup audio recording running after shutting down the camera. This is the chilling confession he made.
Okay, let's put it this way. A person I was very good friends with wanted to do something to put someone basically out of their misery that was a second body. There's a third body that I did not kill, and I knew that they'd be getting Social Security disability for the rest of their life. So I got rid of said bodies, for example, so that I could continue to use the car.
By any chance, while he's getting all this squared away,
I'm gonna send you a message from that page right now. Watch this.
help me get that closure for Edna's family.
Not until I have this. I clam up like a clam if this doesn't go federal for everything.
We're gonna go ahead and end this video right here, man. Y'all go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Y'all have a blessed one. See y'all on the next video.